For the first time in modern history, British fighter jets could soon patrol Ukraine's skies, right on Russia's doorstep. This isn't just another diplomatic maneuver, it's a bold military shift that could reshape the entire balance of power in Europe. But there's a problem. Some military experts warn this plan is dangerously close to a direct NATO-Russia confrontation. Others believe it's the only way to stop Putin from expanding further into Europe. So, is this a brilliant deterrent or a disaster in the making? Today we're peeling back the layers of this high-stakes military gamble, why the UK is making this move, how it could backfire, and what it means for the future of global security. The balance of power in Europe is shifting, and the latest development is nothing short of groundbreaking. The United Kingdom is preparing to take a step that could redefine modern military strategy, deploying its cutting-edge Typhoon fighter jets for an air policing mission over Ukraine's borders. It's a move that has stunned global leaders, forced NATO into urgent deliberations, and put Russia on high alert. For more than 3 years, the war in Ukraine has reshaped the geopolitical landscape. What began as a sudden invasion has evolved into a grinding conflict that has tested alliances, drained economies, and forced Europe to rethink its security architecture. Throughout this turmoil, one thing has become clear. Western nations are no longer just supporting Ukraine from the sidelines. They are now actively shaping the battlefield. At the forefront of this shift stands the United Kingdom, a nation historically known for its steadfast defense policies, but now emerging as an audacious trailblazer. By committing Royal Air Force Typhoons to the skies over Ukraine, Britain is making a bold statement. The days of passive deterrence are over. This isn't just about protecting Ukraine. It's about challenging Moscow's influence and reinforcing Europe's strategic autonomy. But what does this mission actually entail? The plan goes beyond simple aerial patrols. The UK's initiative represents a sophisticated, multi-layered security operation designed to not only prevent Russian incursions, but also establish a permanent Western air presence over Ukraine. This could be the most significant escalation yet. A direct counter to Russian air dominance, using some of the world's most advanced fighter jets. To understand why this initiative is so significant, let's take a closer look at the Royal Air Force's Eurofighter Typhoon, a jet that is not only fast and agile, but also equipped with cutting-edge radar, missile systems, and electronic warfare capabilities. The UK currently operates a fleet of approximately 159 combat-ready Typhoons, with a substantial number of them deployed across various missions worldwide. However, sending fighter jets into Ukraine's airspace presents a logistical challenge. Military analysts estimate that only around 30 of these aircraft would be available for continuous operations over Ukraine, a number that might seem small, but is strategically significant. These jets wouldn't operate alone. They would be supported by airborne early warning aircraft, mid-air refueling tankers, and ground-based radar stations to maintain a constant watch over the region. The idea is simple but powerful. By maintaining a 24-hour combat air patrol, the UK and its allies could create an aerial deterrence zone, one that signals to Russia that any airspace violation will be met with immediate interception. This strategy has been used before, notably in the Baltic air policing mission, but applying it to Ukraine is a much riskier endeavor. Beyond the military hardware, the success of this mission hinges on the ability to coordinate operations across multiple NATO and non-NATO allies. France, Germany, and even neutral countries like Sweden have all signaled interest in contributing aircraft or logistical support to the mission, transforming this into a coalition effort rather than just a UK-led operation. Before we dive into the next part, take a moment to hit that like button, and we put our best efforts to create our every single video. If you're enjoying it, subscribe to Global Insight and support our journey to bring you more captivating stories. Now let's keep going. Things are about to get even more exciting. While this plan appears to be a game changer, it also comes with immense risks and challenges. Unlike traditional NATO air policing, which operates in relatively controlled environments, patrolling Ukraine's skies means entering an active war zone, one where Russian anti-air systems, hypersonic missiles, and fighter jets pose an immediate threat. Military experts warn that deploying Typhoons in Ukraine would require unprecedented rules of engagement, Would these jets have the authority to engage Russian aircraft if provoked? How would NATO react if a British jet were shot down? These are the kinds of high-stakes decisions that could push Europe closer to direct conflict with Russia. Yet, despite the dangers, the momentum behind this mission continues to grow. Defense officials argue that allowing Ukraine's airspace to remain vulnerable would be a strategic blunder, as Russia continues to utilize long-range missile strikes and drone warfare to pressure Ukrainian cities. Establishing an aerial buffer zone could significantly weaken Russia's ability to conduct these devastating attacks. But can the UK sustain this operation? Military strategy aside, there's another question looming in the background. Can the UK afford this mission in the long run? Defense budgets across Europe are already stretched thin due to record-high military aid to Ukraine, rising energy costs, and economic slowdowns. The UK alone has committed over £5 billion in military assistance since the war began. Expanding its role to include an active air policing mission would mean diverting even more funds into fuel costs, maintenance, pilot training, and operational logistics. Some critics argue that Britain's already overstretched military resources cannot sustain a long-term air presence without significant reinforcements. Reports suggest that sustaining even a minimal combat air patrol over Ukraine could cost hundreds of millions of pounds per year, a burden that might not be politically or economically feasible in the long run. However, supporters of the initiative insist that cost should not be a deterrent when the stakes are this high. If successful, this mission could set a precedent for future European-led defense operations, reducing reliance on the United States and strengthening the continent's collective security architecture. If this mission succeeds, it could pave the way for future European-led security operations, reducing reliance on American military power. Countries like France, Germany, and Poland have already increased their defense spending significantly. Germany alone announced a €100 billion military modernization fund, the largest in its post-war history. Meanwhile, the UK has committed to raising its defense budget to 2.5% of GDP, signaling its intent to remain a dominant military force in Europe. While the West sees this as a necessary move, Russia views it as a direct provocation. Kremlin officials have already issued stern warnings, calling any NATO-backed air policing mission over Ukraine a red line that could lead to escalation. Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, has declared that any foreign jets operating over Ukraine will be treated as hostile military assets. Moscow's response could take many forms, ranging from electronic warfare attacks to deploying more advanced air defense systems like the S-500 near the Ukrainian border. There is also speculation that Russia might escalate missile strikes on Ukrainian air bases if Western aircraft begin operating over its territory. Beyond the immediate risks, this mission reflects a broader transformation in modern warfare. Instead of large-scale ground invasions, conflicts are now defined by drone warfare, long-range missiles, and electronic countermeasures. The UK's use of Typhoon fighters, airborne surveillance, and AI-powered defense networks could serve as a blueprint for future hybrid warfare strategies. The coming months will determine whether this operation remains a bold deterrent or a dangerous gamble. One thing is certain: if successful, it could redefine military strategy for years to come, not just for Europe, but for conflicts worldwide. Thanks for watching. Before you head out, if you think this is shocking, wait until you see what's happening in Canada. The housing crisis, skyrocketing costs, and mass exodus. It's worse than you think. Watch now to find out why Canada is collapsing.